This I'll show you what the husband talks about Heidi's, experience with the side effects of quote-unquote CVS. And I'm just showing you pictures of her before we start the video here.
Trade publication because she worked as a screenwriter. And I was very surprised when the obituary went viral within an hour around the world. And because of that, I started getting contacted by many media outlets about what happened to her. And so for the last 3 months, I've been dedicating myself to spreading awareness for people who are suffering with long COVID and specifically the mental health aspects of it. As I often say, she was my best friend. A friend of hers described her as sunshine in a dress, which is pretty accurate. She was somebody that people gravitated towards just with her personality. She was extremely outgoing. She was very selfless. She was a very talented screenwriter who had a 10-year career in Hollywood, which is not easy to do. Just a very dynamic person, just extremely dynamic. And I miss her a lot. Started to show symptoms in April 2020. She got the COVID toes. And I think at the time she had some GI issues that made her think I may have COVID. A neurologist, Cedars-Sinai, they did nerve conduction tests and they said she had small fiber neuropathy. She could barely walk. She could walk, maybe 5 minutes at a time. She often had to put her feet on a pillow when she was sitting on the floor. She couldn't put her feet on the ground because it hurt too much. Leaving the house, for the first 6 hours of the day or so was really a crapshoot. I mean, it was just, she kind of felt like I can't leave the house because I don't know if I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom. I mean, she, I always say she hate me talking about that, but I do talk about it because that's a quality of life issue too. She started to get exhaustion to the point where walking up and down stairs would be so tiring. She would need me to carry glasses of water up our staircase because that would make her so tired. Her heart rate would race from 80 to 130 beats a minute just by getting out of bed. I mean, she was pretty convinced she had POTS and tachycardia. The brain fog definitely became part of it too. She had a lot of problems concentrating. She had vision disturbances. She decided to get the Moderna vaccine. We were able to get it March 8th, and then by 2 weeks later, probably, we started to develop the tremors. First, they were small in her hands, and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger in her shoulders, upper torso. And then the internal vibrations started at night when she would lie down around 10:30. It would start. She could feel it, this fizzing in her body, she described it as, and it was so distracting she couldn't sleep. Even with prescription sleeping pills, she could only sleep for an hour at a time. That went on for 3 or 4 weeks. And that's really when things turned, when she became very despondent, very disconnected. I feel like my life has become so small. It's just in this bedroom. I can't even read on my Kindle and retain a book anymore because she couldn't. I think she started to feel like she was only going to get worse, that the tremors were getting stronger. They were getting to the point where once when she walked upstairs holding a glass, I was walking behind her, her hand started to shake. I grabbed the glass from her, walked upstairs ahead of her, put it on the counter in the bathroom, came back, and she reached the top of the stairs and fell into my arms, and her body was just shaking all over. And I think she felt like it was like Parkinsonian almost. It didn't help. She was being gaslit by her doctors. I think she started to feel there was only one way out. I think that the number one issue people need to look out for is trouble sleeping. Trouble sleeping is the trigger for everything unraveling. It was very much in her life, because when you can't sleep, you can't heal, and your brain doesn't get a break from processing imagery. It's really important that people find ways to get sleep. And, we are now talking, some of the work I do with Survivor Corps, we're talking with some very top anesthesiologists at Mayo Clinic about creating protocols for sleep, where patients will be able to go to their doctors and say, I'm having these vibrations, they're affecting my sleep. I need something stronger. I need something stronger. And that something might even be being checked into a hospital and being sedated for 3 to 5 days, put under a medically supervised sedation where you're really put out. And I think people need to now, who are having those sleep issues, they need to know that they have the right to go to their doctors and talk about this. And if they need backup on that, they can absolutely reach out to Survivor Corps about that. And we will provide doctors who will talk to their doctors, email their doctors, give them the kind of permission that they need, because it's a touchy issue, but it's really important that people know they can sleep if they have to. People need to look out for the feelings of emotional disconnection. They really do. That is a very, very serious sign. I would say, if your loved one is saying things like, you'll be better off without me, I'm such a burden, take that seriously. Take that seriously. And I can't be specific enough to anybody out there who's having those thoughts. You're not a burden. You're anything but a burden. The burden comes when somebody's taken their own life. That's when the burden starts, because that's the burden that goes on for the rest of your loved ones' lives.
As you can see, it's not a fun little picnic when a person gets destroyed like that. And, American Mingala got a pardon from old Joey before he left office. I mean, the guy is creep city. He should have never been, in charge of the NIH. It's just a freaking nightmare. What you need to remember, though, when you do this on a daily basis, make sure you're taking loads of zinc and loads of vitamin C. You need to be taking it every day. Also, get your sinuses cleared up. If you have sinus problems, get them cleared up. There is no reason for you to have sinus problems. You can get a saline flush, and you can get a thing called Navage that you can just, you use the saline, you flush it through your nose, and it stores it in another compartment, and that's that. And, you're clear. You can't run around with bad sinuses. You can't run around with a weakened immune system. You need to make sure you take supplements. My friend swears by them. Thomas just swears by them. And it's just crazy that everything happened the way it did. It should have never happened that way. And here's another pictures of Heidi again. The shot got rid of her all the way back in 21. She couldn't function. It's just ridiculous. Well, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please try to watch one of my other videos. I would appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.